Welcome to the What's in Store podcast from IDDBA.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Heather Prach, the Vice President of Education and Industry Relations here at IDDBA, and I'm very excited to introduce Gary. I'm joined with Gary. He's the Global Director of BSI, specializing in consumer, retail, and food sector of the Americas. It's very rare, Gary, that I meet somebody who has a longer title than me.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me know that. It's interesting because we go by CRF within our consumer, retail, and food to abbreviate it a bit.
Oh, yes, everybody has those acronyms. So part of what we're going to focus today, September is Food Safety Month. We're excited to talk about food safety. Gary, you really came to mind as soon as we were looking at somebody that we could have present here on this podcast about food safety, because you're really passionate about it, and it seems to come easy to you. I'm sure that's not where it started or where you've always been with it, but it comes across that it's very easy for you. So give us a little bit about your background, how you found yourself at BSI, and exactly what you do there.
Oh, thanks for having me, Heather, and be glad to explain that. Actually, I started, my whole career has been in the food industry. It kind of tripped into it, actually. I was looking for a job after I graduated college. I'm a business major. I went to a company called Griffith Labs, which is now Griffith Foods, and started in operations there. And shortly afterwards, a couple of years later, I was put into a sales role. And that's what I did for most of my career, is doing something on the commercial side, on the ingredient side first. And then in the 2000s, I transitioned over to service provider specifically into food safety.
All right. So what are some of the biggest food safety myths that you'd like to bust?
Well, here's two of them, Heather. One is the 5-second rule. You can still consume food if it has only been on the floor for 5 seconds or less. There was an article by Dr. Ron Carter from Queen Mary University of London, which he subjected that favorite rule to a thorough testing, where he dropped samples of pizza, apple, and toast onto different surfaces. All the dropped samples were covered in germs compared to the control samples that had not been dropped. And sadly, the 5-second rule is not true, as bacteria can attach itself to food as soon as it hits the floor.
Oh, you're taking away the fun. I love the 5-second rule.
I use the 5-second rule too. So, and this is one that you may be interested in. Food poisoning is just a stomach bug that goes away quickly. Food poisoning is not a stomach bug, and there are many differences between the two. Stomach bugs are usually caused by viruses and be caught from being in contact with somebody who has the bug. Food poisoning, conversely, is caused by eating food that contains bacteria, viruses, molds, parasites, also known as pathogens. And furthermore, while the symptoms of a stomach bug usually last 24 to 48 hours, food poisoning typically lasts 1 to 7 days, and in extreme cases can be life-threatening.
Oh man, 7 days of food poisoning does not sound fun. So tell us, we throw this word around, food safety, and we're going to be throwing it around often this month, but what does food safety really mean, and why is it important for businesses and as well with consumers?
That's a very good question. And Food Safety Month, and if I'm getting ahead of you, it's an excellent opportunity for companies and their leaders to really highlight their commitment to food safety. We all eat. I think sometimes the consumer doesn't realize all that goes into what makes food safe. And so it's very important that, of course, the manufacturers know what makes food safe, but also getting it out to the food industry, what really goes into it to make their products safe. So, in food safety, it's not just a regulatory requirement, but it's integral to every company's long-term success. And throughout the month when you're doing that, organizations can engage their entire workforce in awareness activities that are both informative and fun. A lot of companies do that. And also while demonstrating to both their business-to-business partners and consumers how seriously they prioritize food safety.
Yeah, nice. I like that you brought up fun. As soon as we get into regulations, things get a little stodgy and they don't seem fun anymore. But food safety, which you'll probably talk to in some of these questions, needs to be a habit, and it needs to be something you hit head on and make it fun, right?
Absolutely. There's ways to do that. Although you have to keep it very serious. I see organizations that recognize their employees every month. They have programs for that. Sometimes they have awards or rewards or whatever it is. But the recognition part of that makes it more of a team play as well.
And when you're rewarded, we're having more fun. So
Yeah.
tell me, let's break it down. We are going to talk about the business piece and retail and restaurants too. Now I want to ask you, how do food manufacturers, restaurants, retailers, how do they ensure safety on a large scale?
There's several ways. One of them would be that they have a good sanitation program. They have good environmental monitoring practices. Certainly on the manufacturing side, that is probably more predominant, but certainly in the restaurant side of things too, there's got to be areas where they're looking at where they're bringing in their food from their suppliers, how they're taking that in, how they're vetting their suppliers, and then going through the process of making sure their area is clean and safe, food safe.
So what role does technology play today in tracking and preventing foodborne illnesses?
Boy, that's a good question, and we are doing an article for What's in Store in October, so some of that may be in that article. But certainly traceability goes back to the supplier, vetting the suppliers again. And there are a lot of ways that you could check on traceability through it, depending on where you're looking. Certainly you're going back now with the FSMA rules to, of course, that's been put on hold for another couple of years, but there is traceability that is needed to be done, especially on key ingredients that are considered more a higher risk, like fruits and vegetables.
What's one surprising thing that most people don't know about food recalls?
I would say that sometimes it's the labeling. Labeling is a big part of recalls, whether they truly affect something or not. But it's the fact that you have to have your labels correct, and now there are significant number of allergens that are needed to be put on the label that says may contain nuts, for instance. And I think a lot of people don't realize some things that may be allergens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. And the labeling, you can have a large recall just based off of not having the label correct.
Absolutely. And if they miss it, they're going to recall it. Fortunately, they usually figure that out, but that is a big issue.
I'm going to say also the surprising thing is how much it can get blown up, right? So it could just be a label issue and not something that's deep-seated in the process, but having that label change out makes it a large recall and a big impact to the manufacturer.
Absolutely. The label, there's a lot of things that are human error too. That why wasn't it checked beforehand? And of course, we all know that nuts are an allergen at this point, or most of us do. And that seems to be something that's missed sometimes on labels. But you have to recall that.
So do you think that social media has changed the way that food safety issues are communicated?
Yes. I think for the better, that the word gets out quicker. So I think that's important to, especially for the manufacturers, that they can put an alert out a whole lot quicker, and the government as well, to put it out on social media to say, this product was recalled, here are the lot numbers, here are the dates, here's the name of the product, whatever it happens to be, and they get it out there quicker to the public so that they can return it or destroy it.
Yeah, good point. You get a much broader reach and much faster by using social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
What first drew you into working in food safety?
But yeah, I wanted to be a disc jockey way back when, and that's what I did all through college. How did somebody so passionate about radio get into food safety? Throughout my career, I was in the food industry, and an opportunity came up that I was looking for something different to do, and I saw a job ad for a company. They were in the food industry, just in a different way, and they were a certification body. Their office was 3 miles away from me, so I actually went down there and talked to them, and eventually got the position. But it was interesting to me because I'd been in ingredients. I loved ingredients. The people are very passionate on the ingredient and the food product development side. And when I started talking about food safety, I could see how my future manager was very passionate about it. And it just seemed to work really well for me, and I've really grown to love this side of it.
Do you have a memorable story where food safety practices prevented a bigger crisis?
I could tell that with the standards and the management systems for food safety, so that started with the Global Food Safety Initiative in 2000, that although there were standards out there before, these are now third-party certifications that are accredited. And I think that has helped considerably with the awareness of food safety, one, and that organizations are being audited every year for that. Not that everything is perfect yet. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I do think that's put a bigger awareness on food safety from the manufacturer's part of it, and understanding that it digs deeper than what it was made thought of before. Also, I do think I have to give credit to a lot of the food service companies and the retailers who have done a really good job of working with the manufacturers and their suppliers to bring a better awareness of food safety.
Nice. So let's talk about the future and some of the things that are that you see ahead for us. So how do you see food safety evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, one thing, I'm very passionate about food safety culture. And I do think, although that's in most of the standards now, and there is a guidance document called PASS, which is publicly available specifications by BSI. It's originated through BSI. It's not just BSI who writes it. But that is very important for an organization to get everybody as a team. It's not technology necessarily all in all, but it is something that I think is one of the key things of having a good food safety program.
Yeah, that's an excellent resource. When we post this podcast, we will get a link to that, Gary, because you put that in front of me, and I do think that that's a great resource for all of our listeners.
Yes, and it's a free download as well, so it's really good.
Perfect. So are there innovations like AI, blockchain, sensors that are going to change how we handle food safety moving forward?
Yes, and yes. I think AI is, I have my sometimes questions about where AI is going. But with AI, I think there's a big area to play in with predictive risk mitigation. And that's not necessarily telling you where your next nonconformance is going to be, but there may be some ways to make a probability of where that nonconformance may be. And that would help maybe train your employees a little better on certain areas as well. So I think that is a big thing. Genome testing, although that's been out there for a while, it's still becoming even more important in the traceability part of it as well.
So what can businesses do to be proactive instead of reactive about their food safety procedures?
From the manufacturer perspective, I think that is always, you can't be reactive to things. I think that there's a term out there sometimes, proactively reactive. And when you're looking at your manufacturing area, I think there's some areas to really consider is how are you doing your sanitation? You can be very proactive with that. You don't have to wait till you see a problem. You can have a sanitation program that works with a lot of data and see where maybe some of your hotspots are. The same with environmental monitoring. I think that's another area where you can be very proactive and focus on key hotspots as well.
Anything else that you would like our listeners to know about food safety and the Food Safety Month in September?
Yes, I think one of the things too is, I'm just going to bring this up because I made some notes on it, and have to say many of your members that I know the organization pretty well. I think continuing to look at food safety culture and looking at continuous improvement as well, not just to take meeting the FDA requirements or meeting the regulatory requirements or meeting your customer requirements. Look at continuous improvement and look at your food safety culture programs.
And Gary, you've been very active with IDDBA. I really appreciate you. You've been in our webinar series. You've written for the What's in Store book. And I'll tell all the listeners, Gary is a great resource. We will have a contact for him. He's good at giving great advice, making food safety approachable, making it easy, implementing these habits into your culture. And I really appreciate you for that, Gary. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Heather. Glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. And that's everything that we have with Gary today, but we will have some links up when we post this. And thank you, Gary, for your time.
Thank you, Heather.
Have a great day.